Very good morning, my dear friends. Welcome back to Chandan Logics. You're watching English class. My name is Sham. My dear friends, 2026 has given wonderful opportunities for all of us. It's very important to leverage the opportunities. There is a saying in English, a very hardworking person, a very hardworking person is sincerely working for his goal, whereas a wise person never misses any opportunity. Working hard is important in our lives, but leveraging every opportunity that comes around is more important. SBI PO exam is from tomorrow. So my wishes will always be there for the students writing the SBI PO exam. And again, within very few days, we also have IBPS PO exam. Do your best for the IBPS PO exam as well. In addition to these exams, we also have some more exams related to banking sector. Every notification is your golden opportunity. So, my dear friends, in this session, we are going to talk about jumbled sentences, especially related to banking sector jumbled sentences. Are you ready, guys? So, I hope my voice is clear. You can hear my voice clearly. Is my voice audible? If yes, please message yes in the comment section so that we can straight away start the session. Please message yes sir in the comment section so that we can straight away start the session. Yes, Anjali, is my voice audible? Is my voice clear? Can you hear me clearly, guys? Can you hear me clearly, guys? Am I audible to you? So we're going to start the session very soon. Share this video to your friends preparing for competitive exams. And you're watching Chandan Logic's English YouTube live where I talk in English completely. Every evening 7:30 you can see me on Chandan Logic's Telugu YouTube live where I talk in Telugu as well. Let's get started. In this session we are going to focus on some very important jumbled exercises. Before we start, like I have said, you're watching Chandan Logic's English channel. Every morning 8 o'clock you can see me here. Every evening 7:30 you can see me on Chandan Logic's Telugu channel. My dear friends, Chandan Logics gives you a free course. This free course has got a lot of practice exercises. You can start your practice. If you are a student preparing for police exams, you can take English classes here at a very reasonable price. So we have the first exercise already waiting for us on the screen. A, B, C, D, E. We have beautiful 5 sentences. We have beautiful 5 sentences waiting for us. I want your answer in not more than 45 seconds. I want your answer in not more than 45 seconds. Waiting for your answer. Yes, my dear friends. We have 5 sentences here and I am looking for your answer. Now, if you observe the options, always start your process with the options B, D, B, E. So forget about C, C is not there. Forget about A is not there. Now you have B, you have D, you have E. It is very easy to eliminate the E option because here you set as a result. So as a result cannot work here. Now you have B and D. My dear friends, it's easy to eliminate the D option also because this is a pronoun. This reassessment, this cannot be the first statement. So it is easy to identify. The first statement is B. Now you have two ways now, BD, BE. Now you have two ways now, BD, BE. For that to understand, you need to have some shortcuts with you, okay? Read the B. The repeated discussion, the repeated disruption of global supply chains over the past decades has fundamentally altered the strategic priorities of multinational corporations, compelling them to reassess production networks that had previously been optimized almost exclusively for efficiency. Can you repeat? The repeated disruption of global supply chains. So, in the recent times, what happened? Global supply chains, global supply chains, disruptions happened. Global supply chains, disruption happened over the past decade. So, in the last 10 years, a lot of disruption happened in the global supply chains. In the last 10 decades, a lot of disruption happened in the global supply chain. Because of this disruption, what happened has fundamentally altered the strategic priorities. So there are some priorities of MNCs, multinational companies. Those priorities have changed. Altered means completely changed. So now what they are doing? Compelling them to reassess production networks, compelling them to reassess. So now they started assessing their production again, reassess. Okay, this reassessment, oh my god, how beautiful this is. Yes, my dear friends. Got it? Here you are talking about doing some reassessment, and here you are particularly talking about this reassessment. Here you're talking about doing some reassessment. Here you're talking about this reassessment, this reassessment, this reassessment, this reassessment. Am I clear, guys? Yes. Easy. But always be careful because here you're talking about assessment, reassessment. Here you're talking about this reassessment. They don't need to be compulsorily PD always. It is only an assumption. I always say jumble statements, vocabulary, comprehension, everything is only assumption. You can't come to a conclusion without cross check. If you want, you can read the sentence like this. This reassessment has been further accelerated by geopolitical tensions. Some problems came. Now, as a result, what happened? Corporations have increasingly adopted the so-called China plus one model. Okay. Economists nevertheless caution that indiscriminate reshoring of production may substantially elevate manufacturing costs. Consequently, policymakers have increasingly emphasized that resilient supply chains not only require diversification but also institutional coordination. So, this is a beautiful exercise. Of course, any student can easily identify B is the first statement. Then the problem comes BD and BE. Then the problem comes BD and BE. And now here you have reassess and here you have this reassessment. So 90% there is a chance for BD, but always be careful because unless you read in this sentence context, you cannot come to a conclusion. He will sometimes deliberately give you a trap because he knows that we will go for BD. So this can be also a trap. This can be also a trap. This can be also a trap. Be very careful. This can be also a trap. Be very careful. Okay. Let's go to the next exercise, my dear friends. Are you ready, guys? Here we go. Yes, here we go. Yes, my dear friends. If you were a normal student, you would waste time reading the complete sentences. But if you are a plus student, if you are a very smart student, you need to, if you are a very smart student, you need to find the best possible shortcuts. If you are a smart student, you need to find the best possible shortcuts. If you are a very normal student, you would follow normal procedure. But try to be as smart as possible. Try to be as smart as possible. Okay, guys, one thing is for sure. Consequently cannot come in the first. Anyway, options is not there. Look at the options. B is also not there. Look at the options. E is also not there. Now you have two options, C and D. Here it says these challenges. Here it says these challenges. So these challenges cannot be the first statement, my dear friends. These challenges cannot be the first statement, my dear friends. So naturally, if you say these challenges, it cannot be the first statement. These challenges cannot be the first statement. So now you have only option C left. Now we have three options starting with the option C. Now you have three options with the option C. Now here the real game begins. What could be the answer, my dear friends? I'll give you 30 more seconds time. Find your best shortcut. Find your best shortcut. Find your best shortcut. Find your best shortcut. Yes, guys. So now when you read the sentence, the unprecedented proliferation of, do you know the meaning of unprecedented? Unprecedented means never before. Something that has happened never before, something which has happened for the first time. Proliferation. What is the meaning of proliferation? Proliferation means spread. Unprecedented proliferation of artificial intelligence across financial services, healthcare, and public administration has generated profound opportunities while simultaneously introducing complex challenges. So, on one hand, we have a lot of developmental activities. On one hand, we have witnessed a lot of positive things. On the other hand, while simultaneously, on the other hand, we have also some challenges to face. We have also some challenges to face. We have also some challenges to face. So, what are those challenges there? These challenges. So, 90% there is a chance to be CD. Same like the previous question. Here it is talking about challenges, and here it is talking about these challenges. Here he is talking about challenges. Here he is talking about these challenges, these challenges. So there is a chance for CD. Okay. Now again after CD you have E and B, which means now you need to read both. These challenges have been further intensified by the artificial intelligence. Okay. Okay. So now I'll explain once again. On one hand, we have a lot of technology developments. On the other hand, we have many challenges. In addition to these challenges, we also have a big challenge like artificial intelligence. Now you read the B. Nevertheless, what is the meaning of nevertheless? Nevertheless means even though. Experts caution that excessively restrictive regulations may inadvertently discourage innovation. thereby diminishing the competitiveness of domestic technology ecosystem. See, if there are too many regulations which are restrictive, that kills innovation, correct? If too many regulations and too many restrictions come, innovation is dead. That kills the innovation, thereby diminishing the competitiveness. If innovation dies, competition dies. So that is the meaning. Okay, we have read the B. Now you read this complete tree. Now you read this complete tree. Now you read this complete tree. On one hand, there is a lot of technology development. On the other hand, there are many problems. In addition to those problems, we have artificial intelligence, a big problem. Now here we said regulations cannot be very strict. There is no direct relation, brother. But anyway, check this one. Governments, therefore, why therefore? Why therefore? Why therefore here? Because here you talked about problems. Here you talked about problems. So, for the fact that there are many problems here, governments therefore confront the formidable task of balancing technological progress against concerns. For the fact that there are problems here, government is deciding to solve the problems and find some measures. Even though government is trying to make many solutions to the problems, the rules are still being restricted. This cannot happen. The rules cannot be, the regulations cannot be very strict. Consequently, finally, policymakers have increasingly advocated internationally harmonized regulatory frameworks. This is the answer. I'll explain once in a very simple language. Listen carefully. I'll explain once in a simple language. I'll explain once in a simple language. Listen carefully. On one hand, we have a lot of developments happening, improvements happening. On the other hand, we have many challenges, especially big challenge from technology AI. So, for the fact that there are many problems like these, governments are trying to solve the problems. In the process of solving these problems, sometimes governments, you know, uh, either deliberately or accidentally put some very strict rules. And if the rules are very strict, kills innovation, innovation kills competitive spirit. That is why, to balance everything, we have decided to follow some international regulatory framework. We have decided to follow some international regulatory framework. Okay, next. My dear friends, can you try the next exercise? Can you try the next exercise? If you observe, I have designed mostly similar patterns so that it becomes easy for you now to replicate the shortcuts. To replicate the shortcuts. Yes, my dear friends. I think already you would have understood the procedure here. Look at the options first. How to do the jumble? Look at the options first. A cannot be the first option because in the options it is not there. B cannot be the first because in the options it is not there. Naturally, you see here, this development cannot be the first statement. But remember, this development means before this sentence, the previous sentence must have some development. You remember like that. Before this sentence, the previous sentence should have something related to development. Correct? Okay. Now here you say, you start with the C, you start with the D. Two options, correct? You observe C. The fragmentation of global supply chains following geopolitical conflicts have fundamentally altered inflation dynamics across advanced and emerging economies. So, what is the meaning of the C statement? We have global supply chains. What is happening there? Fragmentation is happening. We have global supply chains. What is happening? Fragmentation is happening. Because of the fragmentation happening in the global supply chains, geopolitical conflicts have come. So after the global supply chains fragmentation happened, a lot of conflicts are happening all over the world. Because of that, what is happening? Inflation is also changing. Lot of problems, full of problems. Okay, this is C. You also read D ones. Persistent disruptions in energy markets, semiconductor production, international shipping have significantly elevated production costs. See, if you observe, here he is talking about some problems. Here also he is talking about some problems. Now, out of these two, between the two, which comes first and why? Anybody tell me? Anybody tell me? I want the logic now. I want you to find out the logic and tell me the logic here. In the C statement, he has mentioned some problems, list of problems. In the D statement also he has mentioned some list of problems. In the C statement he has mentioned some problems. In the D statement he has also mentioned some list of problems. In the C statement, there are a lot of list of problems. In the D statement also, we have a big list of problems. Now, how do you differentiate why only C comes first or D comes first? How do you differentiate? See, the difference here is, my dear friends, if you observe the C statement properly, the whole problem, this is the main subject, global supply chains. It is the main heading. Global supply chains is a main heading of the passage, for example. So global supply chains is a main heading. So global supply chains have disturbed, then geopolitical conflicts have come, naturally inflation has increased. Now because of this problem, because of this global supply chain fragmentation, the result is energy markets disruptions, semiconductor productions affected, international shippings affected. All these problems came. So I can say this is the main problem and this is the byproduct of this problem. Guys, you should be very clear. Don't guess. You cannot guess at all. If you start guessing, the guessing only becomes your habit. The guessing only becomes your habit. But the question is, why are you guessing? What are you guessing? No way, you cannot guess at all. 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 You cannot guess. Okay. Now here, this is the main problem. This is the result of consequence of bigger problem. So this development, when we say development, it is not a positive development. This situation which is dangerous has complicated the task confronting policymakers. When you have too many problems, the policymakers are confused. No, what policies have they have to design? That is why the solution is here. This is a solution. Economists therefore argue that conventional monetary policy has become considerably less effective. So the solution is not conventional monetary policy. The conventional monetary policy is not the solution. The real solution is central banks have become increasingly cautious in calibrating monetary policy, reorganizing. So if you observe CDE full of problems, this is a solution. Of course, the solution is not clear, but he said the regular old conventional style of monetary policy is not the solution. There should be some better way for that. Yes, guys. Can you try one more exercise? Can you try one more exercise? Can you try one more exercise? Yes, guys. I think already now you would have understood, most of these belong to the same pattern. I have intentionally delivered these exercises which look very close, which are alike, which are very much alike, which are very close, which are very much alike. But be very clear, don't jump to a conclusion in haste. Don't jump to a conclusion in haste. Most of these answers, the option is A. Correct? So far, not only this, even the upcoming questions also. See, don't make foolish mistakes that every question option is A, so this can also be A. Let it be A, so what? But your answer should be based on concept. I want you to completely focus on concept. I want you to completely focus on concept. Your answer should completely depend on concept. 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 Yes, look at the options. A can be easily removed. Look at the options. E can be easily removed. Now you look at the options. B can be removed. Now you have C and D here. Again, if you see, start with C. Corporate governance has increasingly emerged as a decisive determinant of sustainable business performance. See, uh, if a country has to measure some sustainable business performance, how does it measure? Looking at the performance of the corporate governance. Okay, very good. The corporate governance has become the most important deciding factor whether a country has sustainable governance or not. So naturally, look at C. Weak, look at C. Weak, look at D. Weak board oversight, inadequate disclosure standards, and ineffective risk management frequently culminate in significant governance failures. See, in the C statement, he said corporate, let me say CG, okay? Corporate governance is becoming very important in business performance. Corporate governance is very important in business performance. This is what this says. Now, what does this say? There are some problems here: weak board oversight, inadequate disclosure, ineffective risk management. They culminate in significant governance failures. So, here he has mentioned some reasons why government sometimes failure. Here he has become some here he has mentioned some reasons. What are the reasons why governments fail? So, my dear friends, I'll tell you very clearly. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. Success. I'll give you an example, easy example, okay? Easy example, okay? The success of a student depends on his hard work, most of the cases. Laziness, negligence, arrogance, lack of consistency are the general reasons for the failures of many students. See, like this. Success is mostly based on hard work of a student. Laziness, negligence, etc., etc., etc. That is the main reason for general failures of students. Okay, if you understand this, then you will understand this. But I'll completely read the paragraph for you. Today, corporate governance has become the main deciding factor to decide sustainable business performance. There are many reasons why governments fail. Such deficiencies. See, in the D statement, he has mentioned about many deficiencies. No, in the D statement, he has mentioned many deficiencies. No, such deficiencies, such failures, such problems frequently, reduce the customer's confidence, investors' confidence. Recognizing these risks. So now, in these three statements, he has mentioned about some problems. Now we should talk about what? Solution. Recognizing these problems, regulators have introduced some strict measures. Consequently, finally, the companies have started incorporating these measures into their policy making procedures. Finish. How simple this is, see? How easy this is, see? The first three talk about the problems, and then here we talk about solutions. Correct? Okay. Let's go to the next exercise, my dear friends. Before we proceed to the next exercise, Zero to Hero 2.0 batch is a very important batch for you. And aptitude, reasoning, pure maths is completely for you. And 6.0 champions batch is a beautiful batch where you can get the best classes. SSC CGL students can have the right guidance to take some good course. And then we have what? One more exercise. Yes, most of these exercises look similar. But I want you to read the sentences, understand the sentences. I want you to read the sentences, understand the sentences properly. Understand the sentences properly, my dear friend. See, I am telling you the answer. You don't have to work hard. Today, most of our exercises, I have designed the answer as A. Forget about the answer. Don't tell me what is the right answer. I want you to read it. I want you to check your performance. I'm telling you, the answer is the first option. I want you to read them today. I'm telling you, the answer is the first option, dear. I'm telling you, answer is the first option, dear. But I want you to read them, dear. I want you to read them, understand them. 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 Yes. Among the given options, A is not there, E is not there, so remove them. And of course, D is also not there, remove them. Now you have B and C. See, I'm telling you very confidently, C cannot be the first statement. Because here, however, you don't start with however. You don't straight away start with however. So 99% however doesn't work. 99% however doesn't work. Okay, now it's B. B. Read the B. The rapid expansion of digital banking has substantially transformed consumer behavior across both developed and emerging economies. So, what happened? Digital banking has expanded a lot. Digital banking, there is a rapid expansion. Okay, in today's society, in today's country, digital banking has expanded a lot. Correct? Everybody uses digital banking, internet banking, online banking. So because of what happened, the consumer behavior changed in every country, not only developed country but also developing country. Every type of behavior changed. Every type of behavior changed. However, but cyber criminals are taking the advantage. See, this is the positive here. This is the negative here. Positive, negative. Digital banking, online banking, technologies, everything super. But however, the cyber criminals are the cyber criminals are trying to, the cyber criminals are trying to, you know, make their livelihood doing some crimes. These developments means these problems. Because of these problems, what happened? The regulators now have to prescribe. Prescribe means follow far more cyber security standards, strict actions, strict actions. So naturally, what happened? Financial institutions are investing heavily in behavioral analytics, even though experts argue that technological safeguards alone cannot eliminate cyber risks. See, now I'll tell you why I'm asking you to read. I'm telling you why I'm asking you to read. 90% students, you know what they do? They see consequently, that is the last statement, A is in the last. So A is in the last, fatafat. Your, your mark is gone. Your mark is gone. In the previous 3-4 exercises, what happened? Consequently came as a last statement. Here also, consequently is there. You take consequently and keep it in the last. Khatam. If you take A as the last, it is a wrong statement, brother. It is a wrong statement. That is why I'm always telling you, sometimes questions will trap you. Don't fall in the trap. Questions will intentionally give you the trap. Don't fall in the trap. Questions are giving you a trap. Don't fall in the trap. Don't fall in the trap. Don't fall in the trap. Am I clear, dear? That is why I'm asking you to read every time. Read, read, read. Normal student will say consequently is the last. So finish. Game is over. Next. Let's go to the next exercise. See, all these exercises look very close, look very similar, but that's the real challenge. If you are very overconfident, you fall in the trap. Yes, my dear friends. So here, look at the options first. In the options, B is not there. In the options, A is not there. In the options, C, D, E. Okay. E cannot be the first statement because therefore cannot be the first statement. Now you have C and D. Now you have C and D. What is the difference? What is the difference? See, I'm telling you, don't worry. I'm telling you, answer is the first option. Don't worry about the answer. I don't want you to tell me the right answer. I want you to study the sentences carefully. I want you to study the sentences carefully. If you look at the C statement, climate change has increasingly evolved from being environmental concern. Today we have a lot of problem as a climate change is increasing. Okay. Rising frequencies of extreme weather have intensified concern. See, why CD? Why CD is a question. Why CD is a question. The reason is here you mentioned concerns, problems, tensions. Here you say have intensified the concerns. I've intensified the problems. I've intensified the problems. There you say some concerns are there, some problems are there. Here you say it has intensified the concerns, it has intensified the problems. You understand? It's like here you say there is a problem. Here you say there is a bigger problem. Okay? Right. Then, so governments recognized the problems and trying to solve the problems. So if you see, this is the sequence because this is the problem and this is the solution. You should know why you are actually getting the sequence. And don't be judgmental, don't be overconfident, don't be negligent. Okay, chalo. Let's go to one more exercise. Yes, my dear friends. Yes, my dear friends. Yes, my dear friends. I want you to, understand the sentences. Of course, answer is okay. Answer is fine. But I want you to focus on the understanding of the sentences. I want you to focus on the understanding of the sentences. Yes, my dear friends. Okay. So among the options, C is not there, and A is not there, and E is not there. Okay. And F is also not there. Now you have B and D. Easy to say B cannot be the opening statement because this transformation. So naturally D. And there are many sentences here. DB and then DF. Only two options. What is D talking about? The global inflationary episode witnessed over the past few years has fundamentally altered long standing assumptions regarding macroeconomic stability. See, for many years, for many decades, for many years, inflation is there. Because of this, there is no stability in the economy. There is no stability in the economy. Now, you go to the F. Here, say, such complexities. Which complexities? Here, there is only one complexity. You understand? In the D statement, there is only one problem, global inflation. That's it. Here you say such complexities. Complexities is plural. Bhaiya, inflation is singular, complexities is plural. So naturally DF cannot come. Now you have DB, which means you have to read DB. So global inflation, serious problem, stability is disturbed. This transformation, which transformation? Altered. See, altered. This transformation rendered conventional monetary policy considerably less predictable because inflation is now influenced by geopolitical disruption. So, because of this inflation, many monetary policies became slightly challenging. Slightly challenging. See here, if you see here, see geopolitical disruptions. Everybody observe geopolitical disruptions, climate shocks, supply chain fragmentation. These complexities, see, these complexity means these complexity. Okay. So these complexities have compelled monetary authorities to reassess traditional assumptions concerning inflation dynamics. Economists, therefore, economists, again, these three sentences problem. Now the solution comes. Therefore, central banks have decided to adopt some good measures. Even though government is taking some good measures, policy tightening is also a big challenge. So policymakers have decided to take bigger solutions. See how many shortcuts are present. They will help you to some extent. The real secret of the real secret to success is, as a student, your ability to read the sentences fast. As a student, you have to read the sentences very fast. As a student, you have to understand the sentences very fast. Your ability to read the sentences fast, your ability to understand the sentences fast is the real secret. And that secret comes through rigorous practice. Of course, for SBI PO, we have no time to really start your practice. Maybe for the IBPS PO or for the IBPS clerk notification, which has just been announced. For the upcoming banking exams, what I suggest is start reading newspaper articles. And when you read newspaper articles, read the sentences very, very fast. Anything is difficult only in the beginning, but you practice it, easy. Today, I tried to give you a little support and guidance from my side on jumble sentences. I want you to understand that jumble sentences is actually a game to play. You should enjoy playing the game. Possible, I would definitely like to give you more support on jumble sentences in our upcoming classes. Right now, let's end the session because some of us students are writing IBPS PO exam today. So I don't want them to waste their time too much on one exercise because you also have other subjects and other exercises to practice. Best wishes for the students writing SBI PO today and tomorrow and also next week. All the best. Be focused, be cool, and stay motivated. Thank you for being in this session. I'll see you in my next session. All the best.